Hello viewers of Nltv, I'm Ranji Trophy and you're watching Nltv News Now. Let's begin with the headlines. Naga Mothers Association accepts March 9 resolution to hold the urban body elections with 33% reservation to women. NMA expresses gratitude for adopting the resolutions as per the 74th Amendment of the Constitution of India. Chief Minister Nltv meets Union Minister of Tribal Affairs Arjun Munda in New Delhi. Rio, taking down to Twitter, says they had a fruitful discussion regarding welfare schemes under the Ministry for the State of Nagaland. Dimapur Ao Youth Organization states creation of new districts in Nagaland should release the economic aspirations and opportunities for the common people by taking advantage of the Sarfasi Act. No new COVID-19 cases reported from anywhere in Nagaland on Sunday for the first time since January 1 this year, with one patient from Dimapur district recovering from the disease in the last 24 hours. A bomb blast at a grocery shop rented by a candidate in the recently concluded two-phase elections killed a salesman, while gunshots were fired at a house of another candidate in another post-poll violence incident reported in Manipur in the last 24 hours. Government of India decides to temporarily relocate Indian embassy in Ukraine to Poland. The development comes owing to the rapidly deteriorating security situation in Ukraine, including the western parts of the country. Let's see more of news in details. Chief Minister Nltv on Sunday met the Union Minister of Tribal Affairs Arjun Munda in New Delhi. CM Rio, taking down to Twitter, mentioned that they had a fruitful discussion regarding welfare schemes under the Ministry for the State of Nagaland. Furthermore, Rio mentioned that he was grateful to the Munda for his concern and continued support. Higher Education and Tribal Affairs Minister Temjen Imna Along on Sunday met Union Home Minister of State, Ministry of Development of the Northeastern Region B.L. Verma at his residence in the presence of the Technical Education and Elections Advisor Meadow Yoka. Along, taking down to Twitter, mentioned that he had a fruitful and productive discussion on infrastructural development of Nagaland. He further expressed his gratitude to the minister for his valuable time and suggestions. The Naga Mothers Association has accepted the March 9 resolution to hold the urban local body elections with 33% reservation to women. The NMA, in a press note, expressed gratitude to the Chief Minister, UDA Chairman, Deputy Chief Minister, leaders of the tribal organizations, GBs, civil societies and political parties for adopting the resolutions as per the 74th Amendment of the Constitution of India, and hoped that the long overdue municipal polls will be held peacefully to ensure development of the towns and municipalities. He also stated that the NMA has already withdrawn the petition in 2017 after the written agreement by the state government to hold the municipal polls. NMA stated that they were no longer the petitioners in the ongoing case. Furthermore, NMA also extended gratitude to the People's Union for Civil Liberties for their legal intervention for the Naga women's constitutional rights. The Dimapur Ao Youth Organization stated that the creation of new districts in Nagaland should realize the economic aspirations and opportunities for the common people by taking advantage of the Sarfasi Act. The organization, in a press release issued through its media cell, stated that India has embarked upon a developmental decentralized policy through the creation of more districts, so that there is equitable access to the government's programs, policies and schemes, even in the remotest part of the country. The organization, however, lauded the decision of the government of Nagaland to create the two new districts of Tsiminu and Shamator, keeping in mind the tribal sensibilities, however, maintained that the decision should have its logical conclusion without bias. On the other hand, Dio supported the proposed district demarcation and urged the government to implement the same without further delay. An inter-high school tournament for Kohima district in the discipline of football, boys and girls, badminton, boys and girls and table tennis is all set to begin from 6 to 10 April 2022 at the Indira Gandhi Stadium and Indoor Stadium, Kohima. Notably, the Department of Youth Resources and Sports is organizing the tournament, and it is open to all the high schools and the middle schools under the district of Kohima. It is to be mentioned that the interested schools can collect the registration form from the Directorate of YRNS during office hours. Furthermore, the last date of submission of the form is March 26. Nagaland reported 0 COVID-19 cases for the first time since January 1. Moreover, Dimapur recorded recovery of 1 patient from the disease in the last 24 hours. Notably, the active cases in the state dropped to 59 as per data compiled by the State Integrated Disease Surveillance Program. The sample positivity rate also remained below 5% for the past 3 weeks in the state. The state also did not record any COVID-19 fatalities since March 5, and the death toll remained unchanged at 753 on Sunday. A bomb blast at a grocery shop rented by a candidate in the recently concluded two-phase elections killed a salesman, while gunshots were fired at a house of another candidate in another post-poll violence incident reported in Manipur in the last 24 hours. According to the police source, the salesman of a grocery shop identified as Deepak Shah, 28 years old, from Bihar, was killed when the bomb exploded inside the shop at Zion Street at Churachandpur district around 7:30 p.m. on Saturday. The police suspected that the owner of the building, James Kumar Hazel, contested as an independent candidate from Churachandpur, AC, was the actual target of the blast. It was stated that an unidentified person handed over the bomb wrapped in a gift box to be handed over to the owner of the building. However, soon after the unidentified person left the shop, the salesman noticed smoke coming out of the box. Upon pouring water on it to douse the smoke, the bomb went off and the shrapnel hitting Sahu. Police have registered a case to investigate the incident. In another post-poll violent incident, miscreants opened fired several rounds of gunfire at the house. However, no casualties have been reported so far. The budget session of the Parliament resumed on Monday. As the COVID-19 situation has improved in the recent weeks, both the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha having simultaneous sittings from 11 a.m. onwards. Notably, the opposition is set to corner the government on a range of issues, including inflation and rising unemployment. The opposition is also prepared to raise issues of the evacuation of Indians stranded in war-torn Ukraine and a reduction in the interest rate of employees' provident funds. Meanwhile, for the government, the top agenda would be getting Parliament's approval to the budgetary proposals and presentation of the budget for the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharam is set to present the budget for Jammu and Kashmir in the Lok Sabha, and it is likely to be taken up for discussion in the post-lunch sitting of the House. The government has also listed the Constitution Scheduled Tribes Order Amendment Bill for consideration and passing it in the Lok Sabha. On the other hand, Congress MP K.C. Venugopal gives suspension of business notice to discuss Russia-Ukraine conflict. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Monday urged the North Atlantic Treaty Organization to impose a no-fly zone over his country or see its member states attacked by Russia. Notably, his virtual address comes a day after 35 people were killed and more than 130 injured when Russian troops launched airstrikes on a military training ground near the border with NATO member Poland. The Ukrainian president also said that he had warned NATO that without preventive sanctions, Russia would begin a war and that Moscow would use Nord Stream 2 as a weapon. The government of India on Sunday decided to temporarily relocate the Indian embassy in Ukraine to Poland. The development came owing to the rapidly deteriorating security situation in Ukraine, including the western parts of the country, and the government's assessment that all the stranded Indians in Ukraine have been evacuated. Notably, the embassy had already closed its operations in capital Kyiv on March 1 and relocated staff to Lviv near the Polish border, where many Indians seeking to leave Ukraine had converged. Meanwhile, another team of the embassy staff had moved eastwards to coordinate the evacuation of the Indians, mostly students, out of Kharkiv and Sumy, which were part of the initial conflict zones in the East Ukraine. Pope Francis has issued his toughest condemnation yet of the invasion of Ukraine, saying the unacceptable armed aggression must stop. Speaking to thousands of people in St. Peter's Square for his Sunday blessings, Pope Francis stated that the killing of children and unarmed civilians are barbaric and has no valid strategic reason. He called besieged Mariupol a martyred city and again appealed for the truly secure humanitarian corridors to allow residents to live. Pope was soon taking the name of God while requesting to stop the massacre. The Pope has not used the word Russia in his condemnations of the war since Vladimir Putin ordered the invasion on 24 February. However, his choice of words such as armed aggression and no valid strategic reason appeared to be aimed at contesting Moscow's justifications for the invasion. In a tragic incident, 5 Indian students have been killed in a road accident in Canada's Ontario province. The accident between a passenger van and a tractor-trailer took place on Saturday on Highway 401 in the Quinite West City in southern Ontario. The victims were aged between 21 and 24 years. 2 other passengers were taken to a nearby hospital with serious injuries following the crash. The police stated that an investigation into the accident was underway, even though no charges have been laid. The police informed that they are all students in the Greater Toronto and Montreal areas. High Commissioner of India to Canada Ajay Bisaria termed the incident as a heartbreaking tragedy, and External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar also expressed his condolences in a tweet. The Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, on Monday wished former US President Barack Obama a very quick recovery after he tested positive for COVID-19. The minister took down to Twitter to wish Obama quick recovery, and notably Obama on Sunday announced that he has tested positive for COVID-19. Taking to Twitter, the former US President informed that his wife, former First Lady Michelle Obama, has tested negative. It may be mentioned that Barack Obama served as the 44th President of the United States. In the pre-quarterfinal of the Ranji Trophy 2022, Jharkhand amassed a mammoth score of 769 for 9 in 177 overs of batting, their highest ever total since featuring in the Ranji Trophy since 2005. Jharkhand began day 2 on 402 for 5 and resumed their run-piling process. Kushagra, who had already added 175 runs for the 5th wicket with Virat Singh, another day-opening centurion, found his next able ally in Anukul Roy. The pair added another stand in excess of 100, with Anukul getting a brisk half-century. Nagaland's Krivitsio Kenya picked 3 wickets. India wicketkeeper batter Rishabh Pant scored the fastest Test 50 by an Indian batter on Sunday when he completed his half-century in 28 deliveries on the second day of the second Test against Sri Lanka in Bengaluru. Rishabh Pant, batting at number 5, took charge of the innings and attacked the visiting bowlers to help consolidate India's control. With his brisk 50, Pant broke Kapil Dev's almost 40-year-old record of the fastest Test 50 by an Indian batter in the longest format. Kapil Dev had scored a 30-ball half-century while batting against Pakistan in the Karachi Test in December 1982. On the other hand, Jasprit Bumrah proved simply too good for the visiting Sri Lankan side as the Indian pacer picked his 8-5 wicket haul in just his 29th Test and first at home to bundle out the visitors for just 109 and help India to take a lead of 143 runs in the first innings. With the maiden favour at home, Bumrah equaled the legendary Kapil Dev's incredible Test record while also scripting a huge Indian feat. Just 29 Tests old, Bumrah completed his 8th wicket haul by dismissing Niroshan Dikwala on the second morning of the pink ball test at the M. Chinnaswamy Stadium. Only Kapil Dev has registered as many 5-wicket hauls among Indian seamers at the same point in his career. Thank you, viewers. That's all from Nltv News. Now, for more updates, keep watching Nagaland TV. Sob Manalaga Awas.